Well, got another requested video response to a video that has actually been responded to by quite a few people. So, this person's just gonna take us away.
Cute and canny, more than just one out of many.
Hello, lovely people. Okay, so you reach the point where you acknowledge that trans people are people.
Really? You're gonna start your video off like that? I mean, I'm not really here to get more people to dislike your video. I think they can do that on their own. But you do realize that you sound very patronizing to people with a functioning cognitive system, seeing as most normal people do already think that trans people are people. Considering the fact that you call them trans people, yeah. More to that, you're not looking too good or too hot here. So I'm gonna keep listening and let's see, what other ideas you have. I mean, maybe people just overreacted. Maybe that's why that dislike bar is so, abysmal.
And thus deserve basic human respects.
Oh, well, interestingly enough, I respect trans people enough to tell them how I feel about them, or what I think. It just so happens that a lot of times they don't agree or like what I have to say. So, I mean, what truly is respect? Respecting them enough to be honest with them, or respecting them enough to not hurt their feelings? Because the two cannot coexist. Well, I mean, they can depending on the circumstance, but oftentimes, when a world of delusion, such as this one, they don't oftentimes coexist. So, which respect should I give them? Honesty or pander to their feelings? Because then I could say that pandering to them isn't really respecting them all that much.
Congratulations! Now you're ready to learn how you can better support trans people as a marginalized community. Most of these tips could apply to supporting any marginalized community, but this video specifically addresses how to be a better ally to trans people. First of all, being an ally is an uncomfortable position.
I imagine it might have something to do with the fact that you oftentimes tell allies to do very contradictory things. For example, I mean, if you're a long-time subscriber, you probably knew a couple years ago I did a video response to someone by the name of Melissa Fabello, where she was correcting male feminist allies and telling them how to be better allies. And the only thing I really came out of that video thinking was, you just can't make these people happy. And I think that's a really sad and frustrating thing for actual allies. The fact that you give them so many different codes and credences and so many different contradictory things to do, oftentimes their heads probably just explode because they can't really, stand up to the pressure. I mean, for example, if you look at feminism and the whole he for she thing, it's telling men to stand up for women, right? But then the whole feminist ideology is all about propping women up. So what do? Do you stand up for women? Or do you let women speak? It's contradiction.
Are you uncomfortable yet? How about now? You uncomfortable yet? You uncomfortable? You uncomfortable? In order to benefit the trans community, you must be active in your support. This means standing up for trans rights whenever it's safe for you to do so.
Oh, you mean like everywhere? What trans rights are you specifically talking about anyway? I think that's a very important question. Understanding what the fuck a right is. It seems a lot of people confuse right for privilege. So to help you guys out, a right is something that is inherently given to you. Most people will invoke God, seeing as he's the ultimate author of the universe. Some atheists will then invoke natural law or natural rights, which is a concept that really confuses me. However, without invoking nature or God, let's just invoke the fundamental nature of us as humans. A right is something that cannot be taken away from you. And in truth, the only thing that really can't be taken away from you is your ability to choose. I mean, even if someone puts a gun to your head, you can still choose. You can either give them the money, you can disarm the gun, or you can choose to get shot. It's the only thing they really can't take from you. I mean, mind control doesn't exist. Or at least like the Yu-Gi-Oh card, mind control doesn't exist. They control your mind. So all I'm saying is that a right is something that is inherent and cannot be taken away from you. Which means if you have to fight for your rights, a very important question has to be asked, is it actually a right or is it a privilege? That's a whole nother video unto itself. Anyway, continue, Milo.
And always deconstructing your learned biases. All cisgender people are transphobic.
See, this is what I was talking about with the whole allyship thing of contradictory things. Are you seriously leading your video off with this?
Just as all men hold misogynistic views.
You know what I find very interesting? I find it very interesting how apparently all women don't hold misandric views. Seems women can do no wrong, can they? It's not possible for women to hate men, even though it's mostly women saying mean things about men. And you only find a minority of men saying mean things about women. But that's none of my business.
And all white people are racist.
It's interesting. Because you just admitted that you were racist, you idiot. Self-awareness, what even is that?
I've known that I'm trans for 5 years, and I still sometimes struggle with internalized transphobia.
Now, Milo, apparently, you think that, you were born the wrong sex, and that you're actually supposed to be a man. So, I'm gonna treat you like a man. Milo, you gotta get over yourself, man. Like, bro, seriously. What, I mean, like, what, Milo, you do understand that you are projecting your own self-hatred out onto other people. And that's one very interesting thing that what I think about, you know, when Jesus Christ says, do unto others as you have others do unto you. Sometimes I'm not even sure if that's so much as a suggestion or a commandment, so much as prophecy, because lots of people project without even realizing it. Hell, I project without even realizing it half the time. The whole reason why I'm really abrasive and try to tell people the truth and contradict them all the time is because I want people to do that to me, to make sure that I'm right. I'm projecting the way I feel about myself onto you. I'm treating you the way I want to be treated without ever even thinking or realizing it. See? That's what you're doing, Milo. You're just projecting. I don't hate you. I don't even know you.
Thoughts that maybe I am a freak, and what if cis gay people never find me attractive?
Yeah, see, Milo, I don't know if that is transphobia. Considering the fact that there are lots of people who have feelings like that, self-deprecating feelings of being freakish or weird, and there are also lots of people who question whether or not they're attractive. I mean, I used to be one of those people. How many years ago? Like 4 or 5 years ago, I was like that as well. There's something that just happens to people, Milo. You know, you're not special because you have feelings on whether or not you're attractive. You're just a normal person. Which I don't know if is a compliment or an insult to you, but yeah.
If I've not been able to overcome my internalized transphobia in the 17 years that I've been living as a trans person...
Milo, I'm going to use some basic mathematics right now. You said that you've been living as a trans person for 17 years, and only for 5 years have you known that you were actually trans, which means you realized you were trans when you were 12. I find it very interesting that a 12-year-old would be able to think that complexly about reality. I mean, back when I was 12, my biggest issue was dealing with pre-algebra. You, on the other hand, was dealing with complex thoughts on whether or not you were actually meant to have a vagina. I'm not saying I don't believe you, Milo. I'm just saying, I mean, you were a child at that time. Do you really think that you were completely or entirely accurate then? I know, my adultism is showing. I'm sorry.
Then I'm pretty sure you probably have some transphobic biases as well. If you tell me that as a cisgender person, you are not transphobic, you are telling me not to trust you.
Milo, did you ever consider the possible idea that maybe these people aren't actually transphobic? Now, pause. I'm going to stop responding to Milo right now and talk to you, the viewer. See, this is actually, what Milo's doing is very conscious and very purposeful. In fact, lots of marginalized groups do this all of the time. What they try to do, in the best way I can describe, I'm pretty sure there's a word for it, but the best way I can describe it, is they try to take your genuine, serious apprehensions with hatred, for example, sexism and misogyny, they tried to take that, we can even use rape for this one, I'll show you in a second, and they tried to take the very serious and vehement reactions you have to true and genuine hatred of women, and then they try to translate that into so-called microaggressions or smaller instances that aren't really all that bad. For example, catcalling. Now, catcalling is probably a very annoying thing to some women. To some women, they actually rather enjoy being catcalled. And other women, they think that they're so ugly, they never get catcalled and they feel bad. Very interesting thing about that phenomenon. But the point that I'm making is they're trying to take the idea of misogyny, that vehement hatred you have when you hear that someone hates a woman, and translate that into catcalling. So you have the same reaction. What these idiots don't ever realize is you can actually have the opposite reaction. That the whole ploy of making smaller things seem serious can backfire and can make serious things seem small. For example, if it is indeed rape when a man and a woman have drunk sex, then you make rape look like something that's not that serious, instead of making drunk sex look really bad. This is what Milo is doing here. Milo is actually saying that things that aren't that serious are transphobic, which is really just kind of watering down the whole topic, or the whole concept itself. Anyway, Milo, you have the floor.
By telling me that you are not transphobic, you're telling me that you are unaware or choose to live in the dark about the way that we are socialized in a Western society.
Yeah, and I can guarantee you that anything Milo would say that is indeed transphobia is actually probably just normal shit that regular people do that she wants you to take more seriously. I can almost guarantee it. I'm 98% sure. I'm only 2% sure because if I said 100% sure, I'd sound arrogant.
And most disturbingly, by telling me that you're not transphobic, you're telling me that you think you know everything there is to know about being trans.
Or maybe, Milo, you can entertain the idea that these people know everything there is to know about them not hating you.
And that you think your allyship cannot be improved. You're also probably not going to improve your allyship until you acknowledge that you're transphobic. Secondly, one of the most important things you can do as an ally to trans people is to listen to the voices of trans people.
Milo, I am listening to you. And what you are saying is complete and utter nonsense. And since I'm treating you like a man, I hope this is a lesson to all the feminists out there who think that when men say something, it's taken more seriously. Because it's not. If anything, if a man says something that's really stupid, he gets lambasted a hell of a lot harsher than when women say stupid shit. Go talk to Jacqueline Glenn, Lacey Green, Olga Kay, Bria and Chrissy, and I could go on.
And listen to a variety of voices, and not just those who agree with you.
Your sister, that cute girl in your math class, the girl you were trying to bang last night. Women can say some pretty stupid shit and no one will call them out. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I was going on. What did you say?
You don't get a cookie for supporting trans people, but only your trans friends.
Milo, I don't think you know much about selling a concept or an idea to people. Because, in all honesty, you're making being an ally look like a really, really strenuous and unappealing position. And if anything, it would make much better sense to try to get the people who want to be allies. Because if you're telling people that they don't get a cookie or any praise or any admiration for doing the right thing, I can guarantee you one thing, they're not going to do it out of a sense of honor that they don't have. Just saying.
The marginalization of the transgender community continues because transgender voices are not being heard. The transgender community is incredibly diverse and you can learn a crap ton by listening to the voices of trans people.
Nah, this isn't really so much as a counter-argument as a comment on what you're doing. I do find it very interesting how it's pretty easy for you to believe that trans people are really diverse. But you don't extend that to the vast majority of regular men and women. I'm just saying, it's not a counter-argument, I just find it interesting.
One of the best things you can do as an ally is to learn as much as you can and take what you've learned into other communities. Your voice is often given more respect since you are not a part of the community. In the words of Linda Martin, speak with intent to listen. not to speak. Lastly, watch out for those macroaggressions.
Well, I sure hope someone picks up that file. Because I fucking called it.
Microaggressions are soft versions of transphobia, where you may have no malintent, but your actions still work to further the marginalization of trans people. And that means watch out for your stereotypes in cisnormativity.
You know, this kind of harkens back to an old video response I did to someone named Hannah Winton, who was trying to explain to us that the concept of heteronormativity oppresses people who are not heterosexual, which I thought was the most absurd thing in the fucking world. The reason why I found it to be so absurd was because it is a given that heterosexuality is a normal thing. No one is trying or actively or even passively oppressing homosexuals because biology works in a sexual dimorphic way. That's just the way it is. I find it very interesting how this woman is like, we shouldn't treat normal things as they are normal because they hurt us. Which certainly is me mocking her, obviously. But that is the basic gist of what she's saying here. And that unto itself is absurdity and should not be taken seriously. And once again, Milo, I'm saying this because you're a man. So, you can see I am not transphobic, nor am I sexist.
Trans people are erased by language that associates gender with a certain set of genitalia.
Ah, it's funny. I thought you were about to say reality does that. Sorry, I was wrong this whole time. It's language, not actual facts. I apologize.
No, you're not gay because you like penis. You're gay because you like men. But you may happen to really like penis.
You know, Milo, to divorce the genitalia from men and women to such a degree is to make the terms men and women useless unto itself. And if those terms are useless unto themselves, what is the point of even using them to describe you? If you are indeed a trans man without a penis, what is the point of having the word man or male if it is divorced from the genitalia or the chromosomes that you have? Like, Milo, language isn't being used to erase your identity. You are erasing your identity by making language obsolete to describe you. Did that ever cross your mind? Probably not.
Also remember that there are narratives of trans people that you have probably never heard of before. Just because you've never heard it before doesn't mean that it's any less valid. Don't act like you're Hagrid saving some kids from their misery by telling them that they're not actually trans.
You know, as stereotypical as this might be, I'm going to have to say this because I think it's a very important thing to discuss. You will notice there are a few things about Milo. A few obvious things. Now, it's very clear, at least to me, that Milo was born a female. Now, how can I tell those things, viewer? How, you ask? Well, for starters, her voice, or his voice, the incredible lack of muscle mass on him, his incredibly slender shoulders, and all the baby fat on his face is clear indication that that was originally a woman. Now, you will probably ask, Zeus, I mean, how could you say all those things are clearly things that are associated with women? Well, viewer, it might have something to do with the fact that vast majority of women have lots of fat on their face, are small, lack muscle mass, have slender shoulders, and high-pitched voices. Because women are different from, well, what's that? Men. Hopefully you guys can see the point that I'm making. It all goes back to language and so-called transphobia. If you don't get it, I'll probably wrap the video up by explaining it. Go on, Milo.
At the end of the day, trans people really aren't that different from cis people.
Milo, if that be the case, why are you spending so much time trying to convince us that they are?
We don't develop some magical Google search skills where we can just answer any question immediately, and we also have our own feelings and very valid experiences with gender, even if you may never be able to understand our experiences. You can still humanize us in your own mind.
Milo, the mere fact that I even disagree with you, or I acknowledge you as an autonomous human being of which I can have a conversation with, shows that I am humanizing you. However, Milo, this does not mean that I throw caution and reality into the wind. Remember that whole thing I said about how I can very easily and clearly tell that you were born a woman? That is me humanizing you. You idiot. I am acknowledging that you are a human. That doesn't mean that I have to accept that you think that you're supposed to be a man. Especially with the very, very, very feminine expressions that you have. Just saying.
So that you can help the rest of the world humanize us. Now you have several more tools that should help you further the cause of the trans army. Good luck, little warriors. Peace.
Well, that's the end of Milo's video and subsequently the end of mine. I want to leave us all off with two thoughts. One, which I'm trying to find the best way to put this into words, but it's very clear and obvious that men and women are different and that there are specific traits that you can find primarily in women and primarily in men. And that, among the whole genitalia and, well, chromosomes, is what we use to differentiate men and women. That's the first thought. The second thought is, if we divorce those very differences between men and women, and so to mix them together, in which they can be interchangeable, then what exactly is the point of having these terms to begin with? For if a trans man can be a person with a vagina, why does the male have the penis in the first place? I mean, the only reason language exists is to help us understand concepts, right? So, what do we do now? Are these terms useless? I, of course, would argue, no, of course not, but it's just a thought I want to give to you guys. And I will also have to say this, which is interesting enough, a third thing, that I do find it very interesting and kind of sad that all Milo is doing here is just, well, projection. Milo hates herself, or Zierself, to such a degree that she believes everyone else around her does. Which is why I have said numerous times on my channel, the only way you can really love another person is to first love yourself. So viewer, please, take that with you on the rest of your day. With that being said, man, I certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Shoot, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I will see you cool cats soon. Adios.